Sorry, I forgot to hit record. All we got through is there's going to be 4 answers to this. If you can't type it in the calculator and do a synthetic division, like there's no number that's going to go in the little box, instead you're going to have to factor it. So draw your 2 sets of parentheses. How does x to the 4th split? Yeah, x squared and x squared. 144. Now, on the test, I made it a smaller number. Okay, but here, I'll pull up a calculator you can all see. Let's try 144 divided by some stuff until we get something that works here. What do you want to try? 12? Well, that would be 12 and 12. 12 and 12 won't make 25. So let's try 16. I think it might be 16. There we go. 16 and 9. Why do you think, because I wrote the problem, why do you think I picked 16 and 9? Yeah, you're welcome. That's what it'll be on your test too. Okay. We want a positive 25, so they're both positive. And all you're going to do is set each of those equal to 0 and solve them. So when you set this first one equal to 0, what are you going to do? Yeah, subtract 16, so it'll be negative 16. Square root, and what do you get? I'm going to put the answer on the line here. Good, plus and minus 4i. If you're worried about forgetting the plus and minus, if you're checking how many answers you got, you'll catch it because that needs to be 2 answers. And then we're going to do the same thing with this other one. You would subtract the 9, square root, and what does that one give you? Plus or minus 3i. So that is a total of 4 answers. Let's do one of the calculator ones. Let me just pull a calculator here and I'll shine it up here for us to see. Let's do the one that has the higher power. Which one has the higher power? Yeah, let's do 24. How many answers are we going to get? 5. Put 5 on that line. Give me 1 second. I'll type this in. Just imagine like the Jeopardy song playing while I type this. Okay, so it's all typed in. I'm going to hit zoom standard, which is 6. Zoom 6. It'll put the window back to normal in case somebody was using it before you and did something goofy with it. There it is. I was going to say, is it going to show up? All right, where does this touch the x-axis? -1 goes in the little box. Write kind of small so you can make this fit. If you write small enough, you'll be able to make it fit. Is our countdown in order? Yes. Okay, write all those numbers down. What is the remainder going to be? It will be 0. Isn't that awesome? It's like you have the answer key to the test. Like you have to do the work, but it's like you already know what the answers. Wouldn't that be so nice? Every test you got that? Well, on this one you do. It's going to be 0. Some of the numbers got a little large there. If you want to look at mine to check, you would have a calculator. Obviously, this is on the calculator section. It should be 129, -52, -60, 0. I'm seeing heads nodding and I'm not hearing any complaining, so I'm going to assume we're okay. Now, here's the thing. We started to the 5th. We have to get it down to a squared. So we have to divide out something else. Back to the calculator. What else can we do? Why can we do -1 again? Because it bounces. The multiplicity is 2. Do -1 again. And again, you should get 0. So we started to the 5th. We divided out twice. Now we're down to 3, but we need to get it down to squared. So back to the calculator. And I heard somebody say this on the other one. What's the other one? 3. Put 3 in the little box. And again, your remainder is going to be 0. I don't know. Like, I find that very satisfying. Is that like, I don't know. It's just very like, oh, it just always works out. And it keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Like you just keep whittling it down. So off to the side here, when I put the x's back in, it's going to be x squared plus 4x plus 20 equals 0. That won't factor. It won't on your test either. Oh, wait, sorry. Did I leave you behind? Okay, I'm sorry. Let me pause for a second. So this is not going to factor. You're going to write down the first two terms, subtract over the 20, and you guys did this on your little breakout activity. What are you going to add to both sides to complete the square? 4. Add 4 to both sides. The whole point is it'll be something squared. So what's the something? X plus 2. This side will be, oh my gosh, that's because I wrote the question and I made sure it came out too. So square root, it'll be plus and minus 4i. Good, and I'm gonna write it on the line. All right, so it's x equals -2, because you have to subtract that over, plus and minus 4i, but also x equals -1, x equals -1. Do you have to write that twice? Yes, twins count as 2 people, and also you won't get your total of 5 unless you write it twice, and x equals 3. Number 23 is the same thing, just with less answers. Do you want me to just maybe do the calculator part of that for you? We'll just get the first one. Like, how many answers should this be? 3? Let me just type this in really quick. We'll just look at that one real fast, and then you can look through. We're going to work to the bell because I want to do as many of these as possible for you. All right, I just typed that one in real quick. Let's find where it hits the x-axis. Ooh, it's actually like in between. Yeah, so because there's a 2 there, I'm guessing it's going to be a something and a half. So let's try -1.5. What would that be as like a fraction? Yeah, let's try -3/2. You look at my answer key and see if that's right. Yes, that would be -3/2. Go ahead and try and divide that out real quick. And we'll stop there. Like, I won't finish the whole thing so we have time to do some other ones. And if there was like a 3 out front, you would assume that there would be like a third or 2/3 or thank you, or 4/3 or something like that. Oh, what is that going to be? 24? Yeah, okay. 28 be -42. 0. Did you get 2, -16, 28? And if you get stuck on the fractions, guess what you're allowed to use? Calculate. It's on the calculator section, so you'd be allowed that. What do you notice goes into all of these? 2. Divide them by 2. It'll make all the numbers smaller for you. And then you would go and do like the completing the square exactly like we did over here. Let me leave that one though, because I want to have time to do some others. Can you flip through? Like, do you want to do any of the factoring or like any of the ones on the front with these? Yeah, like let's do these characteristics. Using words like up, down, left, right, how did this one shift? It went left 9. So -9 is where the center is. It went left 9. So -9 is where that center is. There was one like this on the breakout you just did. How did this one shift? What direction? Good. So it'll be 5, 8. Any other ones on this first page? Do you want to do 7 or 8, like the factoring ones? Well, I mean, I know how to do them all. I'm trying to think which ones you guys might need. 3? We're going to take out the 3, but only from the first 2. that would be x squared plus 6x. And then just kind of stop. Because you want to leave a gap there. Divide by 2 and square. 9, good. Now hold on, because this is the tricky part. It's not really a 9, it's really a 3 times 9. So it's really 27. You have to turn back into 31. Good, so plus 4. So count on your fingers if you need them. 27 plus 4 gives you 31. And then you're just going to write it as something squared. Write it out blank. That's what I always do. It will calm you down because it's like, oh, I started. Just figure out what goes in the blank. And it'll be like x minus 1 or x plus 2 or x plus 5 or x minus 7. Like it'll be something like that. In this case, it'll be x plus 3. Let's do the factoring ones. I think that would be a good idea. Oh, time to wake up. All right, this one already equals 0. That's good. We're going to split it. You need numbers that multiply together to be 12. There's a lot of choices, so we might not guess right on the first try. And guess what? That's okay. If we don't guess right on the first try, what will we do? We will try again. That is, and honestly, that's like in real life, the skill that you need. That's a skill you're going to need in real life is the try again, like, perseverance. Anyway, what do you want to try for the 12? 3 and 4? I'm going to go with that. Now 6, you could do 1 times 6 or 2 times 3. Again, you're just going to have to pick something and go with it and see what works. 2 and 3. Do you want the 2 in the first parenthesis or the second parenthesis? It's just making decisions. You want the 2 here? 2 here. Okay, let's see what happens. You sounded confident, so I think you might have already figured it out. What do the outsides give you? Good, 9x, and the insides. Oh my gosh, you guessed right on the first try. I'm almost kind of sad that happened because I didn't get to model for you how to fix it, but that's okay. We guessed right. Do the symbols last. I want a positive 1. That means you would need a plus 9, 3 times 3, positive, and then minus 8. Don't forget to do what? Because if you stop there, you haven't finished. What do we now need to do? Solve it, actually get your answers. And if you get stuck on the factoring, make something up and then solve it, because I can give you a point if you solve what you made up. Does that make sense? Make something up here and then solve it. I can give you the point for the answers. This one will be 2/3 and this one will be negative 3/4. Good. This one, you need to get it to equal 0. Evacuate. I call this evacuate when I used to teach algebra 2 a million years ago. Evacuate. Minus over the 8x and put it in the middle. And then before you go to split that, you want to kind of be a good noticer. What do you notice? They all divide by 4. And 0 is fantastic because 0 divided by anything is still 0. So you don't have to write the 4. It kind of gets absorbed by the 0. It's just gone. 0 is fantastic. It is just the best. 1 is a close second, but 0 is the best. And now look at how much easier that is. How is that going to split? X and X, that's always great. You don't have a choice. And then 3 and 1, again, you don't have a choice. Minus 3 plus 1 will give you a negative 2x in the middle. If you're facing backwards, you're going to have to tilt so you can see what I'm doing. Some of you haven't even turned. I'm sorry. I know you're in groups. I apologize, but you can turn your head. It'll be okay. All right. And then what are the answers? Beautiful. Could you draw can we go back to 5 and 6 for a second? Because those are really simple ones I don't want you to miss. Draw a quadratic that has one solution. That means it has to touch the x-axis once. So like this. That's it. I don't care where, as long as it's once. Yeah, only one solution. So we want it to touch the x-axis only once. But yeah, if you want to argue the point, there's still 2 answers. It's just they're the same number, like the multiplicity is 2. The point is I wanted you to draw it only touching once. And then this one, you want it to hit the x-axis at -2. So right there, and then +3. That's it. That like, please don't overthink those. Those are again, like, thank you for attending questions. That's all that that's meant to be. If you draw a parabola that does those things, then you're good. Is there anything, let's go page by page for the rest of these. How about anything on the second page? These ones are completing the square. This one is like your quiz 2.0. And then these are some of the characteristics of this graph here. Do you want to pick one or two on this page? Yeah. 11A, find when the ball is at its maximum height and what that is. What is the little formula for that? Good, you guys are good memorizers. Because even when we did that activity, a lot of you were going for the quadratic formula instead of factoring, which is like impressive, but also I want you to pick the method that's going to be like easiest. Anyway, what is B in this like situation? 6. So it'll be -6 over 2 times A is -1. Negatives cancel. 6 divided by 2 is 3. It would be 3 seconds. How do you get the actual height though? Plug in 3. Here we go. 3 squared. Exponents come first. So 3 squared is 9. Oh, but it's negative. So -9 plus 3 times 6 is 18 plus 17. Let me address this because I know some of you are sitting there thinking, but when you square a negative, it's positive. But again, the exponent comes first. We squared the 3 and then multiplied it by the -1. It's exponent, then multiply. Okay. So what is that going to be? -9 plus 18 would be 9, plus 17 would be 26. Meters, feet, miles, yards, feet. So 3 seconds, 26 feet. Should technically be 26 feet at time 3 seconds, but as long as you have the answers in the feet and the seconds, I don't care. It's fine. Can I recommend we do number 10? Because I think that's probably like the hardest one on this page. What do you notice about number 10? They all divide by 3. Do that because it will make the numbers smaller and that makes the problem easier. So it'll be x squared minus 2x minus 6, good, equals 0. That won't factor. And it's the directions say solve by completing the square anyway. So write down the first 2 terms, leave a gap. You're going to add the 6 to the other side. I am keeping an eye on the clock. We can still do a few more. Add over the 6, divide by 2 and square. What's going to get added in this gap? This one's kind of tricky. 1. 1 squared is 1. 1 does get people, and I understand why that happens, because 1 squared is 1. It feels like you didn't do anything. 4 is the other weird one, because 2 squared is 4, and 2 plus 2 is 4. So this will be something squared. What's going to go in the blank there? It's x minus 1 equals 7 square root. You good? So this will be x minus 1 equals plus and minus square root of 7. And then last step is you would add over the 1. I don't want you to miss these characteristics ones, the 12 through 17. Can we maybe just look at those really fast? Like they'll go super quick. I don't want you to miss the easy ones. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's always a bummer. What do you think? 12, positive or negative? Positive. They're both going up, but it's based on the right side. Even or odd? Even, they're going the same way. Degree must be, okay, listen. If you wrote that the degree has to be even, you had better put an even number on that line. 6. Yes, it is the turns, which there are 5 of them, plus 1 is 6. But for the love of my sanity, make them match. Okay? I'm a lot more likely to give you partial credit if they match, even if they're wrong, than if you wrote even and then 7. Like that, I don't know, that bothers me. All right, how many real zeros? Watch, I'll point to them. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're just counting where it hits the x-axis. And then if the degree is 18, how many imaginary zeros are there? Well, see, I feel like on delta math, they would have counted that as 5. But we actually have to count this one how many times? Like you have to count that twice. Let me change that. I'm gonna make that be 6. Because it has, I feel like on Delta Math, they didn't do that. But you have to count that one twice or your total isn't gonna be correct. We're gonna count that twice. That's what I'm gonna make it. That one counts twice because it's a bounce. So if your total is 18, if 6 of them are real, how many are gonna be imaginary? 12. Like if there's a total of 18, we counted 6 of them are real, 12 of them are gonna have to be imaginary. And then these are yes, no. Is the point 1, 0 on the graph? No, look it, here's 1, 0. Is the graph touching there? No. Is 4, 0 on the graph? Yep, right there. I mean, time for just like 1 or 2 on the next page. Those phones are all put away, right? Yeah, all right, that'll be the last one we have time for. Are you guys okay with these though, doodling on your test? Please don't miss those, they're so easy. Just, you have to go right to left, but just put the x-intercepts and then bounce, wiggle, or cross, okay? But yeah, let's do this one. This will be the last one we have time for. Hey guys, I have an x squared. I want it to be an x to the 4th. What do I multiply by? X squared. This is almost exactly like the one on the breakout you did. Distribute that through here. It's going to line up. You just have to kind of write small. X to the 4th minus x cubed plus 5x squared. That part usually goes well. Here's the tricky part. You have to subtract. Subtracting is hard because negatives are difficult. What happens to the first column? That cancels. That didn't cancel. You had a whoopsie. Okay. And some people will just like remember that these are all going to be opposite because you're subtracting. It'll be -4 plus 1. So -3x cubed. This is 2 minus 5. So -3x squared. Oh, there's a lot of 3s. Actually, again, they're all negative. Bring down the -3x. We're going to do it again. It's cyclic. So you're going to do the same thing over again. And remember, if your numbers start to spiral out of control, because you know how if you make a mistake, it like snowballs and it keeps getting worse and worse. If you start getting numbers into like the hundreds, you had a whoopsie somewhere because I'm not going to do that to you. What do we multiply by now? -3x. You're going to distribute that -3x through here. Brooks, are you with me over there? I haven't seen you turn to look over here once. I'm just making sure. Okay. -3x cubed. And then what would the next one be? Plus 3x squared. And then minus 15x. Good. Give it a hug. We're going to subtract. First column cancels. And be careful because they're negative. That is the hard part. Negatives are hard. They are. This is -3 minus 3. So -6x squared. This is -3 plus 15. So it's 12x. Bring down the 1. You're going to do it one more time. You can do it. I believe in you. Go team. Pep talk. Now what do we multiply by? -6. When you distribute that, -6x squared plus 6x minus 30. And whatever you get here is your remainder, which would be 6x plus 31. How do I tack that on at the end? It's going to look like a disaster, but just write it anyway. It'll be, yeah, over. Do you remember what this is called? Divisor. Good. All right, your job is to finish the other ones. You don't have like a graded homework assignment, but I'm going to finish filling these in, take a picture and put it on Schoology. This will look remarkably like your test, okay?